Hi guys, it is me, Keta Loren, aka Big Sis. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, I love you. I'm so happy that you're here. Today's actually a really big day for me, but before we get into that, if you don't mind liking, subscribing, and commenting down below if anything in this video resonates with you. My heart is very full today. For about 4 months, I've been working on the audio version of my memoir, Gutter Kid. And it was a long and arduous process. Lots of tedious listening and making sure that the narrator was a good fit for you guys to give you the best quality product and that the story was told accurately. So I'm going to put a link down below both to the written book Gutter Kid and to the Audible, which just released today. It will be released on iBooks or not iBooks, all of the other audiobook platforms within the next few days, but today it is available on Audible. And watching one of your dreams come to life is always such a beautiful thing. I remember when this book came out, which was back in August, so it's the end of August. It's taken 4 months from the drop of this book to get the audiobook done. Like I said, long process. But our topic today is shame because somebody commented down below, somebody who resonated with my story, and they spoke about how they were struggling with the shame of the weight that growing up the way they did carried and all the consequences that comes with it too. And this book is about my story, about all of the darkness, all of the demons, all of the secrets that I said that I was going to take to the grave. Until my therapist told me that anything I can't say aloud would eat me from the inside out. That it was killing me slowly. It was rotting me. It did take a lot of work in therapy to be able to write these words down. And this book, writing it, was actually a huge part of my healing process. And the ability to transmute my trauma, my abandonment, my shameful secrets around drug addiction, my stories about being trafficked as a human. I still struggle saying that I'm a victim of human trafficking. Those words don't come off of my lips very lightly. They're very heavy. They still feel foreign to me. They get stuck in my throat. And this is years after getting out of the situation. And one of the things that my therapist had brought to my attention was I didn't choose for these things to happen to me. I didn't choose them. I did not choose to end up in the foster care system. I didn't choose to be abused. I didn't choose to be born genetically predisposed to alcoholism and addiction, generational poverty. And for those who don't know, the foster care system is a direct line to human trafficking. See? I'm telling you. Your body knows. About 80% of human trafficking victims have a history in the foster care system, predominantly in California, and then it's around 60% for the rest of the states. But California especially, which is where I'm from, Cali girl. And I remember it being brought to my attention, why would I be ashamed of something that happened to me? Because shame is a very powerful tool to silence victims, to place blame, redirect blame. Oh, it's your fault I hit you because you made me mad type energy, right? And I really didn't know why I was ashamed of these things. Maybe because there were actions that took place that I still harbored in my body. And people that I grew up around definitely liked to make me feel like everything was my fault. So being the scapegoat definitely made me take blame for a lot of things that actually weren't my fault, especially when I was an innocent kid and really bad things were happening to me. Now, one could argue that me becoming an addict was my fault. I chose to use drugs, but the statistics say that kids who grow up the way that I did, they're most like, the statistical average is that they will abuse, especially with two parents that are not only products of alcoholics and addicts, but are themselves. Why would I be ashamed of the things that happened to me? When we don't heal the trauma, we can't get to the root cause. And sometimes it's so ugly and painful, and there's so many stories tied around them that we can't even get to the root of it. It's just easier to try to carry on and hold our head high and God, just don't tell anybody, right? Just if nobody knows, if I can keep this mask up high, nobody will ever know what I've been through, and I can just success my way or work my way or manipulate my way into healthy relationships and healthy habits. And it doesn't work that way. Because when you have things that are unhealed, you have, ooh, I just kicked that. I told y'all I'm reckless. When you have things that are unhealed, you will manifest the same type of situations because your body is always trying to protect you. It's trying to protect your secrets. It's trying to protect your hurt, your wound. And it will continue to do it as long as there is a wound there. And they have a saying, and it is that nothing can hurt you unless you find truth in it. So if somebody were to call me a dumb short bee, I would be like, well, I'm not dumb, obviously. So you're dumb for saying that. I'm not short. I'm 5'10". It's just a flat out lie. And then a bee is, that's subjective. That doesn't really hurt my feelings. So I don't believe any of those things about myself. So you can't hurt my feelings by saying that. But if it was something like back when I was really struggling and like wanting a certain person's love, one of my parents' love, and somebody would have said, your mother doesn't love you. That's why she threw you away. Or your father doesn't love you. That's why he did drugs. That would have really fucked me up. It would have really fucked me up because I believed that. And it held weight in my life. So changing the stories around what you believe and what you don't believe about yourself, and pulling the shame up. The cure for shame is being able to tell your story and have a safe reaction. Being met with love, safe connection. That is why I preach safe connection. I will not have anybody in my life that is not a safe connection. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how famous you are. I don't care who you say you're gonna be. If you do not make me feel safe, I don't care what in the world there is to gain from it. I cannot take that risk because it will undo years of work that I have done to cultivate a loving relationship with myself. And those who deal with shame really strongly have a habit of abandoning themselves so other people won't. And I've spoken about this on TikTok. That is a radical act of self-love, not self-abandoning. Because people who have manipulative tendencies will push your boundaries to a point to where they tell you they won't love you if you enforce this boundary. And so in hopes of maintaining a love that's honestly not real, because nobody who really loves you will do this to you. Okay? But because we crave love, we will say, oh, maybe that boundary is not that important. There's so many other good things about this person. Maybe I can just overlook it. They're trying in these other areas. I get this, so maybe I don't need it. No. You are abandoning yourself so that someone else won't. And when you carry shame in your heart about things that aren't even your fault, things that you have been through, it makes it a lot easier to believe that you are unworthy of the love that you are inherently worthy of. How did I deal with my shame? I don't recommend the way that I did it. One day I said, this is fucking killing me. The story of how I was trafficked. And I said, I was about to go on a podcast. It was actually Bianca Taylor's podcast, Badass Babe Radio. Boss Babe Radio? Boss Babe Radio. Shout out to Bianca. And I just spilled the whole story. And I remember her saying, if you want to delete any of this, I can edit parts out. And I said, no, I'm done. I'm done being ashamed of this. I'm done letting it hold me down and the fear that was attached to people finding out. Oh, if people only knew, they wouldn't love me. I would be worthless. I would never be deserving of all of these good things in my life. And I wanted to find out because the weight of the world was on my shoulders and I wasn't going to do all this work and then have it ripped from me if what I believed about that story was true. And it was like ripping a Band-Aid off of a bullet hole. And for the next 6 months, I purged. And it was ugly and it hurt. And I said, oh, I can't do this alone. So I got into EDMR therapy and I did that for 6 months and it was horrible and it was awful and I purged and it took a long time. And I hate telling you that, but I love telling you that this is the transmutation of all of that shame. The messages that you see on my TikTok are the transmutation of that shame. And I made the decision that I would be brave and that I would work through my shit. They say don't make deals with God. Nope, I do it all the time and I'm not ashamed about it. Nope, shame don't live here. Perfect topic, right? That I would help other people. If he just lifted some of the weight, if it just lifted some of the weight off of me and let healing happen in my life, that I would do the work. Now, faith without works is dead. I'm not a religious person, but I do have my beliefs. And there is a creator that is very active in my life and is my best friend. It's my best friend. And whoever that is to you, I hope that they're your best friend. Because I needed a strength greater than myself. And in the program of AA, we call it a higher power, or my friend calls it HP. And it doesn't matter what it is. You can believe in whatever you want as long as they're helping you get through this. And you start healing it. And then your test becomes your testimony. Your trials, the things that you make it through that you thought you wouldn't, are going to be the things that save someone else's life. I can't tell you how many comments I've gotten that say, you saved my life. And while my brain can process what the words mean, I know of at least 2 people that I know quite literally that's what they meant, but it doesn't, I still don't understand. I still don't understand the way that I'm being used by the universe, but I'm willing to do the work so that if I do need to be used, that I can show up. And I wouldn't have this ability without my story, without the things that I was so ashamed of. And I always say again, I told the world all my secrets so they had nothing to use against me. I Eminem'd myself. I was like, if anybody's going to tell my story, it's going to be me. It's going to be me because I'm the only one that knows it. I'm the only one that knows the truth. Shame will eat you alive. And you are not responsible for the things that happen to you, but you are responsible for healing them. My trauma, the word my in that indicates responsibility. I have a responsibility to heal that, and I deserve it. And it's not fun. My friend called me the other night and she said, I'm in some deep work. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. That sucks. And she just started laughing. She said, you always know what to say. And I said, baby, I've been there. And I'm not going to this ain't a candy factory. We ain't sugarcoating shit. It is rough. But you are worth the work. You are worth the rough. You are worth walking through you didn't walk through everything that you already walked through. Why not walk through some more for yourself? Because when you heal it, you start to it's like a veil has been lifted off of your eyes. You start to see the relationships that you entertained that you had no business entertaining. You start to see the ways that you were sabotaging yourself when you did all the work to be successful. It all becomes very clear, and there's just some trauma in the way. There's some shame in the way. A lot of people hold themselves back from doing successful things because they were afraid, like myself, that if they did become successful, that somebody would try to blackmail them and tell all their secrets. We think politicians, right? Oh, they always digging up some dirt. I wouldn't recommend doing this process and digging up your trauma without a trained professional. And again, I'm not one. I'm just somebody who's been through it and is trying to shed a little bit of light for other people who may be going through it and are trying to come out. I'm a little bit of I'm trying to be a compass in some form or another. And not only a compass, but living proof that you can overcome anything. You can heal from anything. If I can heal from everything that I've had to heal from, become an author, I'm a published songwriter, I'm a published model, I have 2 large social media platforms, I own my business. They told me I was going to be a junkie. They told me I was going to die in prison. That was what my statistical fate was. And I'm telling you, I proved everybody wrong, but I was willing to do the work. And I hope that you are willing to do the work for yourself too. You guys go check out my book if you want to know the full story. I'm going to put the link down below. I also have a few workbooks that I'm releasing. I did release one, so I'll link that down below as well. And drop any comments if there's any videos you would like me to touch on in the future. I love you all. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Happy healing and is it Wednesday? And happy Wednesday. Okay. Love you.